Today we're talking about healthy and safe school lunches. So today I've assembled about 3 different lunches. They're just examples of what I think are a well-balanced lunch for your child. When you want to put together lunches for your child, you want them to eat it first of all, and you want it to be nutritious, and you want it to give them fuel for their brain mostly and for their bodies. And so we want to try and get as much nutrition in there as we possibly can, which comes in the form of fruits and vegetables, of course, whole grains, and proteins, and healthy proteins and fats. So what I wanted was a bit of a selection for different age groups. And of course, you want to tailor it to your child's preferences, of course, and what they like to eat, and maybe add in a few things that you want them to try. I think the key to making them excited about their lunch is that there's a little bit of variation once in a while. They're colorful. When they open up their lunch, they've got something kind of exciting to dive into. So I love these bento box style containers, and they're really just one container with a bunch of compartments, and then you can play with the size and shape of the things that you cut up and put them into their different compartments, and I think it's fun for a child. I found these containers, I think it was a package of 5 at the dollar store for a few dollars. I think it's well worth that little bit of investment if you can, even if you just get them from the dollar store. And they're easy to clean, they're lightweight, they're easy for your child to open, which is also important, especially for little ones. You want them to be able to get into their food and be able to eat, because most of their lunch break is spent talking to their friends and wanting to get outside for things. So when it comes to feeding little people, I think if you can do a lot of the work for them, cutting their things up into smaller pieces, maybe even peeling their oranges for them, peeling eggs, things like that, make it really easy for them to just get down to eating. So here's an example of a lunch I put together for, I think, maybe an older child. This is a tuna and lettuce wrap in here with some cucumber spears on the side. We've got some little mini whole grain crackers, some extra veg just shoved in there. If your kids like olives, some cheese chunks. This is a sliced up apple. I know that kids don't often eat an entire apple, so I'll slice it up, but an issue for some kids is that apples start to brown. So what I do is you could either rub some lemon juice on the outside, or what I do is sprinkle some cinnamon. So if it goes brown, it's the cinnamon as well. And then this is just like a nut butter dip. I know that most schools you can't take peanut butter to school, or even some nut butters, but we can substitute that with wow butter is an example that you can find at most grocery stores. It's made with soy instead, or sunflower butter is another one. Tahini is great. That's made with sesame seeds. So it depends on what your school's rules are. And then on this lunch, there's some fun fruit skewers. This is yogurt. So I like to get plain yogurt because the flavored yogurt, even the vanilla stuff, has tons of extra sugar that you don't really need your child having. And it's just, I've sprinkled in some chia seeds in there for extra fiber, which keeps them fuller longer, but it's also just really great for your blood sugar. Sprinkled with a little bit of granola just for fun, and a couple of blackberries. And then this is like a little mini sandwich, which I think is really cute, and they could probably, depending on your age, their age, eat a couple of them or just one, and then you fill up the rest of their lunch with vegetables and fruit. And then this is the one that I thought would be great for a young one. I've got these cute little cucumber and cream cheese sandwiches, a boiled egg, some peppers and grape tomatoes, some fruit, and then I'm going to show you like a really fun, easy way to make banana and nut butter pinwheels. So we have a whole wheat tortilla. I'm going to slather it with some of our nut butter, whichever one you like to use and can have at the school. And this is where you can throw in some extra fiber. I really like chia seeds because kids really like chia seeds too, and it's easy to eat. It's tons of fiber and very healthy fats called omega-3s. I've got flax seeds here too. We could throw in a few flax seeds. You could put sunflower seeds on there just for a little extra crunch. You could throw in a few raisins if your kids like those. And then you're just going to lay your banana down the center or slightly off to the side. This is a massive banana, so just put it down, roll it up. That nut butter is going to be what kind of glues it together, and then you just turn it into slices. That one you might eat yourself. And then just stack these little pinwheels in here. And they're nice little bite-sized, easy sort of little things to eat. And it's just an alternative to your typical sandwich. Some other great ideas for lunches are even just if your kids really like dinner the night before, leftovers are always really great. I know these are maybe a little bit creative, but I think it's fun to just do something different once in a while, not always sticking to the same routine. And then I thought a really fun idea is making some kind of savory muffins or something, or cupcakes. You could do like little mini meatloaves and add those into their lunch. They could eat them cold. What we're gonna make today are savory biscuits, so cheesy, spinachy, savory biscuits. Okay, I've got my ingredients assembled, and these are just really delicious biscuits. You can use whatever flour you like to use at home. Right now I have almond flour, which makes them a little bit denser, but they're still really, really nutritious using more of a nut flour rather than a refined flour. So if you have whole grain flour at home, use that. I've got 2 cups of almond flour. I'm going to add in my 2 eggs. If you can't use eggs, you could always replace it with a flax egg. So that's some ground flax mixed with water that will help to bind everything together. And these are not fussy biscuits. You can just kind of mix everything all together, which I really love. Just throw everything right in there. 2 eggs. I've got 1/3 cup of 10% cream. You can use milk or heavy cream or whatever you have. I've got a couple cups of finely chopped spinach that your children won't even notice is in there. This is part of a whole tomato that I diced up. And a couple cups of shredded old cheddar cheese. And then in this bowl, I've got some different herbs, so whatever you like to use. I've got a lot of garlic powder in there, some spice, like a smoky chili, dried basil, 2 teaspoons of baking powder, and I've got 1/2 teaspoon of salt. I'm gonna mix that in just to thoroughly mix the baking powder and the spices so it all gets blended up. And then I've got some melted butter that I'm gonna add in. You could put these into muffin cups if you wanted, which would also be really great. Or what I'm gonna do, you don't need a muffin tin, you don't need muffin cups. You just need your baking sheet lined with parchment, if you have it, just to keep things from sticking. Or if you just have your baking sheet, you can put down some, you can butter it or spray it with oil. Mix my melted butter in there. And then we're just gonna spoon it out onto the baking sheet. And I've got my oven preheated to 350. And these will take about 20 to 25 minutes to cook. And then they're great just in a sealed container for a few days on the counter, or you can freeze them for later. So you just want to take a little spoon. You're just making like a nice child size little biscuit. You don't need to get fancy with the shape or how they look. Rustic and fun. Okay, we're gonna pop these into the oven, check them at about 20 minutes and see if they're nice and golden. Okay, now it's time to check our biscuits. It's actually been about 30 minutes. They smell so good, delicious, garlicky and cheesy, and they're going to be more like a scone or like a tea biscuit kind of texture with the almond flour. I think these will be a nice addition to your child's lunch. Thanks everyone. See you next week.